Maine Democrats chose Troy Jackson to face Republican Senator Susan Collins this November, but now some are calling the candidate's eligibility into question after Jackson already ran for governor in the June primary. Our Christian Harsa took a closer look at that legal argument. He joins us now. Hi, Christian.
Hi, Brian. Representative James sent the letter to the Secretary of State, giving her a letter and asking her to investigate this question of eligibility. From what lawyers and legal scholars have told me, though, the representative's stance likely faces an uphill battle.
But what if Troy Jackson, newly minted as the nominee, can't run?
The law says that you can only run for one of these positions in a cycle. And he's already lost a race, just like some other folks that ran for governor. So he's not an eligible candidate.
Maine law section 331 says someone cannot file for more than one federal, state, or county office at any election.
It is what it is. He's running for another office after he's already lost an election.
I think it's a creative argument, but I think probably a losing one.
Maine law professor Dimitri Baum points towards the word file.
And here Jackson only filed for one office.
Instead, the Democratic Party chose Jackson for the U.S. Senate. Republican Representative James White sees it differently.
So he threw his hat into the ring. He wasn't chosen. He was chosen after he threw his hat into the ring after he lost the governor's race.
White says the problem isn't just how, he says it's also when.
Law says that you can only run for one of these positions in a cycle.
The question is the primary the same election as the general election for the Senate? I think that may be a closer call. I think probably not, but you can make an argument there.
White also argues that this law serves a purpose, preventing candidates from trying again and again.
We have sore loser laws in place for a reason.
The statute here is not really a sore loser statute. It's kind of a dual filer hedger statute.
To prevent someone from hedging their bets by running for the Blaine House, U.S. Senate, and State House all at the same time.
Whereas a sore loser statute is, I ran as a Democratic candidate in the primary. I lost. Okay, fine. I'll just drop out of the party and run as an independent.
The Jackson campaign isn't giving the challenge much weight. Republicans are so worried that Susan Collins is about to lose, they're resorting to cheap tricks. Troy Jackson will harness the grassroots energy in Maine and defeat Susan Collins, wrote a campaign advisor. White's letter, sent on Friday to Secretary of State Shanna Bellows, has gone unanswered. So has News Center Maine's request for comment on Tuesday. On Monday, Bellows did release a list of candidates withdrawn or replaced. Jackson is at the top of the list.
I think somebody could bring the challenge in court and say this person is not eligible. But like I said, I think it's unlikely that she would change her mind, and I think it's highly unlikely that the court would reverse the decision anyway.
Jackson was just one of 27 names on that list of people withdrawn or replaced for this general election. So we asked the Secretary of State's office if this is abnormally high or low, and they responded that since 1989, when you first could withdraw without a reason, they couldn't tell us an average, but that the highest count in memory was 48 people dropping out. In the studio, Christian Harsa, News Center Maine.